Hello everyone, welcome back to another Battle Spirit Saga matchup video. Today is Purple Curse versus Red Nova. If you watch one of my other videos, I think it's the last video, I might have mentioned that I've been uploading these kind of in a reverse order, so like I was definitely much more comfortable with the deck, playing wide control, and we've kind of been going backwards. So this is the first match that I had played with Purple Curse after building the deck. So it's a little unrefined, a little rough around the edges in terms of, you know, the plays I make. There's definitely some misplays that I'll call out during the video, you know, with like core drain, and I think there was I can't remember, there was another misplay, timing on something else, that kind of a thing. But, you know, it was, like I said, first iteration of the deck. We've since updated it. Again, the updated list down in the description. So please, if you are interested in playing Purple Curse, hopefully you'll check out my updated list. And I plan to make a video kind of diving in depth on why I put certain things in and my decision behind them, and even breaking down my sideboard. So if you guys want to check that out, that'll be up probably early next week, maybe late this week, depending on if I have time to do it. But let's jump into the deck list for this video and let's get into the gameplay. Alright guys, same deck list as the last two videos. Nothing's changed there. 3 Madukes, 3 Dragons, 3 Baculas for kind of the late game stuff, and then a bunch of Cursed Spirits kind of push through the early game. Won't harp on it too much. Same deck, updated list down in the description, as well as if you like this iteration, that list is also in the description below. Alright guys, here's Stefon's Nova list. So 4 Novas, 2 Halberds kind of help with the aggro matchups, I think, and then Nebula Dragon's an interesting one, but it actually worked out pretty well for him, as you'll see later on in the video. But it's kind of one of those cards in his words that can be kind of milled out later with Volcanic Canyon if needed. And another interesting choice in this deck that I think works out really well for him is the Galaxy Dragon Andromedios. It paid dividends in this matchup, as you'll see. But if you want a further breakdown of this, up the top right there, you'll see a link to his video kind of breaking down his list and going further in depth with it. Alright, jumping into game 1 here. Purple Curse versus Red Nova. Again, this is the first time I've played this deck. I had built it like the night before, so apologies guys. I did upload these in reverse order of playing, so I was much more comfortable playing the deck when I did the white control video. But start off, we'll just throw the Camelot Knight down. We do have that Ice Shield set in the burst, as that is in this iteration the only version of a burst card we run. Steph, I believe here, doesn't have a turn 1 really, so he just passes it on back. Game 1's going to be a little long. Again, as it was my first time playing the deck, there was a lot of thinking around what I wanted to do. So we're going to get a second body on the board. We end up, I think we leave the core on Camelot Knight. So Aglavel doesn't have Curse, but it doesn't really matter. Steph has no blocker right now. It's totally fine. And we'll just swing twice. Go ahead and take 2 life from him there and pass it on over. So I had played Red Pterosaur aggro into Steph's Nova before, earlier on playing the game when I got back from Vegas. So I was a little more, I guess, cognizant that I don't want to give Steph too many resources, drop his life too much, unless I can really close the game out. But I think I went a little too cautious in this game with that in mind. In hindsight, like I already have him at 3 health, so I should really go as aggro as possible and try to close the game out. Now, with that said, I do think Netherworld Depths here, great card to get down. This actually played out really well for us because he felt the need to play Andromeda before we had Netherworld down. So unless he has another Andromeda or Burning Force, which looking at his deck list was only one at that time, and I'm not sure if he's pivoted since then. He only had one Burning Force in the list. So it was a good spot for us. We're pretty safe having the Netherworld on board. Again, unless he had a second Andromeda. But Steph responds with his own Netherworld, so time to just trade. Card draw here. Looks like we have quite a bit of spirits in hand. So maybe we can get a big board going here. So we get the Boa Trickster down. A card that I've since cut from the deck, but I did like it when I was a little more spirit heavy in the deck. I think it's a good curse spirit. It has good baseline battle power. Plus it has curse at level 1. So honestly, I feel like it's a really solid curse card. There's just a lot of, you know, there's a lot of other cards that kind of take a little bit higher precedent. Now, I do think this last turn of passing without attacking was a mistake. I do think I should have attacked. It would have forced him to either trade the Andromeda, which means he doesn't have a 6-drop that he can ascend off of. And if he did have like another 6-drop in hand, then it didn't matter. And we could have dropped him to 1 health if he blocks and we attack with both. In which case, if he has the Big Bang energy in hand already, it doesn't really matter because he's at 3, so everything's gonna essentially be free as it is off of Big Bang. So I do think that was a misplay. He does throw down the Halberd, which is going to kill something, which I think he picks. Yeah, he picks Boa Trickster. So I'm left with 2 curse units. Again, we could have had 2 curse units with him out, with him not having a board going into that, which would have played out, I think, fairly well and dropped him to 1. We end up just taking the life there. Top deck another Ice Shield, which means we can get a little more aggressive here. I also feel like that's where we also misplayed that last turn of not attacking, is that we have the Ice Shield, so we could end the turn at any moment and be totally fine. Ice Shield is one of those cards that really is good to let you go aggressive in an aggro deck. I know some aggro lists are not running Ice Shield, and it does open up your deck to other cards when you do that. But I personally like, with aggro decks, playing Ice Shield because it means that I have that security blanket that I can swing my entire board and not have to worry about needing to block, because I can just trade cores, trade 4 cores, and be fine. We're gonna play the Purple Smoke Valley. Good card, which means that our cursed units can't be blocked if we level it to 2. I feel like until we get like the Cursed Dragon combo out, the Baculus into Cursed Dragon, which would then proc the card draw, this card is kind of one of those that you could really keep it in hand and then use it to kind of finish the game, if you will. We also didn't swing that last turn. Again, we could have got potentially the Andromeda off the board. We could have swung curse units, both curse units. And if he doesn't block with Andromeda, he's down to 1. If he does, we kill it with a curse unit. And then we would have Baculus as a 3rd. But again, I was playing a little more cautious when I really should have just probably gone more aggro here. First game, again, with it, I was kind of thinking maybe the deck would play it a little more mid-rangey, but it definitely plays pretty aggro. He does drop the Andromeda, gets rid of our Netherworld, excuse me, which, you know, is unfortunate. We do lose some card draw, but we'll see later in the game. It's okay. It ends up being all right. I also was not attacking because I didn't want to give him too many cards. I didn't want him to draw into the Big Bang combo. But again, he could already have it in hand. I can't remember how early in the game he ended up getting that combo. But we'll go ahead and just take the damage there. So now life totals are tied. Do have a Baculus in hand, but we're really looking for the Curse Dragon. And if we can get that in hand, then anytime he Novas, we should be okay. So we go ahead and Baculus, drop everything to 1 core. For the sake of time, cores would have come off my stuff, but I would have just recored them up. So that's why you don't see them removed. Stefon likes to take the damage from the curse unit, swing with another curse unit, drops into 1. Had we had one more unit here able to be played, then we could have gone wide enough to win game. And I'm not sure what I had in hand. I think I had like Maduke, Netherworld, maybe something else big, because I definitely have cores on Purple Smoke Valley that weren't really needed. Actually, I think what happened was Steph didn't elect to take that damage. I had made my curse units unblockable with Purple Smoke Valley, was what I think had happened. But unfortunately, here we get the Big Bang Energy combo. He's at 1, so everything is costing 1, which is, by that point, free. Throws down the Imperial, the Divine Mars Dragon, and then he Novas, Ascending, which off of a Seagworm. He's just going to sacrifice that Soul Core and go back up to 5. Little unfortunate for us to not be able to close it out before this combo. In my experience against Nova, that's kind of what you need to do. You either have to close the game out quick before they can combo, or you play it a little slower and they combo, and you just basically keep their life high enough to where Big Bang Energy isn't super valuable for them. But he is going to use Nova at level 2 here. Pops a couple things. We're just kind of clarifying that I can't resummon my Beldegor because Baculus died at the exact same time, thus it's not in the graveyard. A little unfortunate for me, but we're going to go and flip the Ice Shield here. We got the cores to pay for it. And that'll end his turn. Now at this point, it's looking pretty bleak for us. But we do have another Ice Shield, which is good. I think that was the other card in hand. I think we had Maduke, Netherworld, Ice Shield. Actually looks like Baculus is in hand. We haven't drawn a Maduke yet. But we're going to go ahead and Deadly Bounce. Get something off the board here. He's going to sack Andromeda. And we're going to play a pretty slow turn here. But again, we have that Ice Shield to really fall back on. So we're not too worried about things. We'll drop Netherworld Depths. Try and get some card draw, because we only have 1 card in hand at this point. Put some cores on things. It doesn't really matter. Again, very slow turn for us, unfortunately. So I'm just going to go ahead and swing, and he's going to check. Top 3 cards. I think he whiffs. No Star Dragons. Pretty good for us. We're going to go ahead and take that one. Draw off the Netherworld. And then we don't elect to Ice Shield there. And I think my thinking here was, well, it'd be nice to stay at 3. What this play does is now he's down 2 blockers. So if I can go wide enough here, then maybe I could finish game. Unfortunately, I don't think I'm going to be able to go wide enough. But yeah, we go and flip the Ice Shield, leaving us at 2. And I don't think I had drawn from my Netherworld off of the Nova swing. So I think that we end up resolving that later, I do believe. I think it's like right around here. Yeah, so I draw for the Cavalier. So I'm going to go ahead and draw one more. Just to resolve that Netherworld. Then how about we get a little bit more card draw going? Dropping another Cavalier. So we do end up top decking the Curse Dragon here. So now we have Baculus Curse Dragon in hand. You will see a little bit of a cut in the footage here. I think I play the Baculus first and then we'll see a cut. We had a little bit of a ruling thing that we've since figured out. But basically, when I went to Vegas, I thought I remembered that the ruling was that if you need to pay the core off of a spirit to pay the cost of summoning something else, you don't get to count that as that spirit's reduction symbol. Yeah, here's that cut. But that's since been changed, right? Or maybe I just misheard the ruling, what have you. So we were discussing how this would end up getting paid, but we ended up figuring it out. Curse Dragon does come out. I had enough cores to pay for it, and then I just move 1 core over. I think I moved back this core over. So I get 4 cores here, I believe. From killing Steph's board. Decent value for us. Had we been able to get the Curse Dragon earlier, I think this game would have played out a lot safer for us. But we get it at least and are able to clear the board before we completely lose the game. Just kind of discussing here a little bit more. I think there was maybe like a question over next to us at their station. Jarius and Eric were actually playing next to us, playing a game, so I think we answered a question for them real quick. Clear Steph's board. Then we'll just go ahead and I believe pass turn here. Oh, we're able to get one more body on the board. Go ahead and summon that Aglavale that I see in hand. Pass it on over. So Steph's now without a board. His hand, though, is still pretty good size, and we both have a lot of cores to play with here. I think we're just going back and discussing the Curse Dragon thing a little bit, but ended up being the correct way to play it. Another Galaxy Dragon out for stuff. So like in hand, he has a Seagworm, Divine Mars Dragon, and I think I might have seen a Nova in there. Just a couple bodies on board for Steph. Then he's going to go ahead and swing here. We're going to go ahead and draw off Netherworld. And we're just going to sacrifice this Aglavale, keep our life, and we get a card draw off of him because he has a Soul Core. Works out all right for us. Top deck a Core Drain. Now, again, this was first game playing the deck, so there was a little bit of a misplay coming up here. At the end of the day, we would have played this the exact same way. Steph does take a Nova there, the old Saga version. But yeah, so there's going to be a misplay coming up here. But we would have ended up playing it the same exact way. It was just declared wrong what effect on the card. So he swings here with the Galaxy Dragon. I'm going to go ahead and block with Curse Dragon. Steph's going to use Big Bang Energy from hand. So he's going to give it 2,000, which would have made it trade with Curse Dragon. And in response, I use Core Drain, which, as you'll see, has a main effect of removing 3 cores from something exhausted, or giving something 2k on a flash. So that's why I say this could have ended up playing out the exact same way this card would have been used. I just declared that I was going to remove 3 cores. Obviously, you can't do that because that's a main only, but at the end of the day, I could have just given Curse Dragon plus 2,000. Same effect, right? Would have been fine. So while it was a misplay in what was declared, it still would have played out. Now, I do think, looking at what I have in hand, the optimal play would have been to core theft and discard, say, one core from them and discard 1 card. And that would have dropped it below the 6k threshold because it would have been level 1 plus 2k. So I think it would have been at like 5,000 at that point. And I think that would have been the better play. And then I could have core drained this turn to remove 3 from Siegworm, which wouldn't let Steph ascend off of that next turn. So I do think that would have probably been the better play in hindsight, but unfortunately, it was just a misplay situation, so in my mind, things went the way that they needed to go because of what I could have done. Again, obviously, couldn't have, but we misplayed. So we're going to get another Curse unit on the board, the Okapandal. We now have 2 Netherworld Depths, so it should give us quite a bit of card draw. Got a Beldegor in hand, and that Core Theft. Hopefully later this week or maybe next week, I do want to do a video about just a cool little interaction that I had with Core Theft. And that will hopefully, just a situation that you guys can think of with cards like that, and in flash windows to really help with some things. I don't want to spoil too much from the video, but hopefully I can get that out next week, or maybe later this week. But Core Theft has, there's some interesting things you can do with that, with cards in the flash window and spinning cores off spirits. And yeah, so hopefully you guys will enjoy that video, and it'll kind of open your mind up to some different plays. So here we end up passing. I think not the worst situation, not the worst idea to pass here, as Steph's at 5 and we're at 2, so we really need blockers. We got to play a little more defensive here. Steph also has a lot of cards. So he's going to throw down the Baculus. Everything drops to 1 core. We know he has that Nova in hand, so he can... Good thing about Miraculous, he can ascend off of them. It does not specify it has to be red. And he's already healed, so there's no point in needing to ascend off of Seaworm, because he has no soul core to sacrifice anymore. We go ahead and swing, pop a couple things off our board. We do get 2 card draw though off of Netherworld. It's like a Maduke and another Core Theft, which is quite nice. Now Okapandle does die, which is a 4-drop, so we are able to get Beldegor from Graveyard that died earlier in the game. So that gives us a little bit extra body there. I think in hindsight, Steph probably would have gotten rid of the Beldegor instead of the Okapandle. But be sure to check out his channel. I know he also put this matchup up, so you can kind of get his insight on his plays. His channel should be down in the description below. And it was on the, check out the Fabled Beast video. That was also Steph. I believe he's putting that video up later this week as well. So if you want to get his insight from the Fabled Beast perspective, be sure to check out 482 TCG. So we're going to go ahead and block Nova here. That Beldegor we just got. Nice little body on board. Did some good work for us. Steph goes ahead and swings. Get our double card draw. At this point, we have pretty good hand size. We're building back up, which is nice. It only has 1 core, so we're gonna go ahead and Core Theft it. We will discard, and we're just gonna end up discarding our other Core Thefts. I think the thought process here is we didn't want to discard any spirits in hand, as we're going to try and go wide and maybe in game, which you'll see for some reason I didn't end up doing that. I went wide enough, but I didn't play the cards, or didn't swing, so we'll see how this turn plays out here. I do feel like in hindsight I could have maybe won the game. It was definitely a closer series than it probably should have been. There's definitely some misplays, but we're going to go ahead and just throw quite a bit of spirits down here. Throw down Dragon, Naga, Assassin. Got ourselves another Boa Trickster. Dark Lancer Cavalier. Gives us another draw. I think we end up top decking a Curse Dragon. Which is a little too big at this point after the board we've made. Definite misplay. Should have Cavaliered first to see what our card draw was. And then maybe I could have played this out a little differently. Drop the Nova to 1 core, that kind of a thing. But we are going to drop the Maduke, and we're going to put enough cores that everything gets Blood Curse that has Curse, which is nice. So again, we now have 5 spirits on board. Steph has 5 health. He does have a burst card set. So the interesting part is what is the burst card? And I don't remember in hindsight what the burst card was. But I do feel that I end up misplaying here overall. I think we're thinking right now like about leaving cores on Purple Smoke Valley, but there's really no need to. He can't block anyways. So making my Cursed Spirits unblockable doesn't help. But we have 2 units on board with Curse, which makes them Blood Curse. We will go ahead and start swinging here. Dragonog Assassin. And Boa Trickster. Bow Swing. You'll see, like, he puts the cores in his reserve, but they do have Blood Curse, so I think we resolve that here in just a few seconds. Yeah, there we go. So we're going to move those 2 cores to the void. And we'll swing with the Cavalier. So drop him to 2. Again, I should have swung here with Beldegor and Maduke afterwards. And for some reason I don't. And I think it was because of the burst card set. I think my thinking was that if that is an Ice Shield, then if I swing with 1 more body, he will remain at 2 health. And then I can only really drop him to 1 if I swung out with Maduke. But leaving that burst card set there doesn't really do me anything like a value, especially because he's about to swing with Nova again, which is going to wipe most of my board anyways. So in hindsight, should have swung with Beldegor and Maduke. And worst case scenario, he flips Ice Shield, stays at 2 or drops to 1. Either way. Should have at least attacked with Beldegor, because then I could have flipped the Ice Shield, gotten it off board, and then I still would have had just Maduke. Because as you'll see, I think I end up losing Beldegor anyways. So he plays Rain Needle. And then he'll charge draw. Get himself a couple more cards. I think he ends up, yeah, from that charge draw, he ended up getting Andromeda, which is going to pop Beldegor. Gives me 1 less blocker. So, again, should have attacked. Potentially flip whatever this burst card is, if it was Ice Shield, or it just stayed there and we win game. Because we end up losing the blocker anyways. See a charge draw in hand and an Ice Shield proxy in hand, because again Steph's he was playing with proxies. Look like I saw the back of a BSS card. So it was an Ice Shield there, actually. He ends up setting another burst card. Maybe thinking that I'm going to survive this turn somehow, and then he's going to bait out that that isn't an Ice Shield. Since we did see another one in hand. Smart play, for sure. A little bit of mind games. And this was a very good move for Steph. He swings with Rain Needle first, which means that I can't block with Maduke and trigger like a Blood Curse to restand her. Which is really unfortunate for me. So that kind of just wraps up game one. I think we're just kind of discussing how that... there's really no way for me to get an out. And this is kind of... these are the games that kind of led to me changing up my deck. And why I run Burning Force main deck. Because if I had a Burning Force in hand, I Burning Force, you know, the Rain Needle off board. And then I can block with Maduke here. But unfortunately, we're just drawing spirits. Not really able to get any answers for any of this stuff. We had used quite a bit of our spells before. So we'll just block with Maduke here. Unfortunately, he still has 2 bodies he can swing with. And that's going to wrap up game 1. Game 2. Much quicker game from both of us. We, again, game 1 was the first time we had played the matchup, first time I played the deck, so the game was very long, so I appreciate you guys sticking through game 1 so far. It was also, it's a Nova game, so it could go long anyways. Let's kick off game 2 here. We're gonna play the Camelot Knight down. I think I'm thinking through if I want to play anything else from hand. I might have been able to summon like maybe one more thing. I think I'd skip Steph's turn 1 here at the beginning of the video, but he didn't have any play, so we just pick it up here with me going second. And we'll drop him down to 4. Definitely going a little more aggro this time around. I think after game 1 I realized like I can really just go hit the gas, play spirits, swing away. Stuff's gonna trigger though, looking for a Star Dragon. Of course he gets that Nova. That card did a lot of good work for him in these two games, I will say. But we're just gonna end up taking that. Not really any response to make there. Quite a few good spirits in hand for us. Throw down the Beldegor. Get that Galaxy Dragon off the board. Steph's gonna go ahead and draw 2 cards. From Star Blessed. Quite nice for him. And then we'll also drop Okapandle. Go a little bit wider here. Still got 3 cards in hand. So at this point, we're feeling pretty good. He's a 4. We have 3 spirits. If I'm not mistaken, we might drop him to 1 here. Go ahead and attack, and attack. So we drop stuff down to 1. Pass it on over to him for his turn. Now he's got quite a bit of cores to play off of here. Steph calculating what all he can do this turn. He has quite the potential turn here. Anyway, big bang. Which makes everything cost 1. So he's going to spend the 1 there because he has no sort of reduction now. He's going to Andromeda, get rid of Okapandle. He's going to go ahead and ascend off of Andromeda. Nebula Dragon for free. Excuse me. Now this does have the Soul Core on it, which is important to keep in mind. So it does deal double damage coming up. I'll point out a misplay I made here in this game. Just gonna Divine Mars Dragon. So he has 3 bodies on board, representing 4 damage, unfortunately for us. Swings with Nova, which blows up our 2 spirits on the board. Now the misplay here is I have a Deadly Balance in hand. I have 3 cores, so I can pay for it. And I should have Deadly Balanced right here. So what that would have accomplished was he either has to pick one of the 3. So he either doesn't get the damage this swing. He doesn't get a 1 damage off of the Divine Mars Dragon if it was to swing. Or he doesn't get 2 damage off Nebula Dragon. But unfortunately, I decided to play it 1 attack. And so I Deadly Balance right here. And he just picks the Nova, which means that I still have to take 3 damage and I only have 3 life, which finishes off the game. So definitely a little bit of a misplay there. But in hindsight's 2020, right? So we could have like won this game too, potentially, because it could have left him very, very vulnerable with us having, I think, at least 1 spirit in hand to close out that 1 life when he doesn't have a burst card. All right, guys. Tough one. We go down 2-0 again, but once again, first time I was playing this deck, there was definitely some misplays. I think game 1, we definitely could have taken that had we attacked with Maduke and Beldegor, and at least forced out the Ice Shield. Would have at least been the better play there, and then would have kind of maybe forced like Nova to maybe pick Maduke. I guess he could have just chosen not to, Nova anything had that been the case, or something along those lines. It could have played out a little bit better for sure. And then game 2, had we Deadly Balanced first attack, I think we would have ended up closing out that game and taking game 2, and at least forcing a game 3 had game 1 not shaped out any differently. But it was a learning experience. I'm having a ton of fun with Purple Curse. There will definitely be more Purple Curse videos on the channel in the future. I will be playing them with the updated list since I've made those changes. And again, later this week or early next week will be a breakdown of my Purple Curse list. So hopefully you guys are looking forward to that. But we are also going to be filming some more matchups this week. And I will be playing some Red Pterosaur again. I'm going to revisit that. I'm not done with Purple Curse by any means. That's definitely what I plan to probably play in tournaments, and I'll probably play that in Columbus as I'm having a ton of fun with it. But I do want to practice Red Pterosaur and kind of understand that deck better. And plus, I want to get you guys more matchup videos with more things, as well as, the meta stuff, so you can kind of see how these matchups play out. Hope you guys, again, enjoyed this video, and I hope to see you back for the next one. Take it easy.